What's up, everybody? Welcome to Philly with John Marks on PHLY. We're live on a Monday morning, which reminds me, I got to hit this tweet announcing that we are officially live. What's up, everybody? A beautiful weekend, beautiful Monday morning here live in the Delaware Valley. If you're out there watching live right now, we appreciate you. Our usuals are 8 a.m.ers that get up every day and log on in and follow the show, Philly with John Marks on PHLY. Just make sure you're liking and subscribing and commenting. And if you're watching live, don't be afraid to get involved in the chat. It's a very nice community of viewers that we have every single morning. A couple things here, then we'll get right into it. A lot to talk about today. If you haven't subscribed to our PHLY Daily, and sometimes when I say newsletter, people are like, newsletter. Like, first of all, newsletters are cool. But what Rich Hoffman does for you is he's essentially sending you the sports page that you would get in the height of the daily news, right? Like the most information out there. I was reading it this morning like I always do. And a lot of times I'll see stuff and I'll be like, you know what? Like, that's a really good point. I'm going to use that. I'm going to steal his idea, kind of, and I'm going to use it. And a couple things this morning that Rich says in PHLY Daily was really good. But it has embedded tweets and videos of Schwarber home runs and things like that. Tyler's recap from last night after the win. So make sure you're subscribing. You can get it at allphly.com. That's allphly.com. All right. So Tyler will be back on Friday. He's got some PTO that he's taking for most of this week. Brent is with us today. We'll have an assortment of producers. Bob Cooney's going to join us about 20 minutes from now. Block B of the program. We'll talk Phillies and 76ers with him. But before we get to the draft lottery, which is tonight, 76ers, can they keep their pick? A really good weekend for the Phillies. Kind of up and down season, more good than bad, but after the way the season ended the last couple of years, I think it's easy to fall a little bit on the negative side with the Phillies. And I've said all along, and I said this as recently as probably the last show that I did, their starting pitching is going to win them 90 games. As maddening as the lineup may be sometimes, and we're worried about the bullpen, the starting pitching is going to win you a lot of games, and that's what we saw this weekend. So they take 2 or 3 at Cleveland against a good Guardians team. And, starting pitching, man, offense got going a little bit, but you had Ranger Suarez, who was excellent, and you had Zach Wheeler, who was just great last night as well. So Ranger goes 7 innings, 3 hits, no runs. Friday night, Zach Wheeler goes 7 innings, 3 hits, no runs. Last night, low walks. The bullpen, tell me if this was on your bingo card. Zach Wheeler goes 7. Jose Alvarado, a perfect 8th inning. And then Jordan Romano, not Romano. All you outsiders that don't know how to pronounce his last name, like me, just 3 or 4 weeks ago. But Carl Ravitch on the broadcast last night, because it looks like it should be Romano or Romano, but it's Romano. He has a perfect 9th inning. He has been great his last 5 outings, I believe. Yeah, he hasn't given up a run in five outings. I mean, you saw last night what he was doing, which was he was slowing the sliders early in the count. He's throwing them for strikes. And then the next batter, he's throwing fastballs. So he's mixing pitches up. He's able to throw his slider for a strike. He looked really, really good last night. So the Phillies starting to roll a little bit. St. Louis comes to town. That series starts tonight, taking 2 or 3 in Cleveland. The big story outside of starting pitching, Kyle Schwarber. That's right. Pay the man. Hashtag pay the man. Kyle Schwarber. It seems like after every home run he hits, if you're watching on social media, while you're on social media or you see it a little bit later, pay the man. Sign him already. All right. So obviously Kyle Schwarber and what he's meant to this team has been off of the charts. Talking about exceeding expectations from when he signed here, this guy is the real deal. He's fun to watch. You just love everything about him. You love his demeanor. You love the type of leader that he is. What he brings to this team is amazing. And why haven't they signed him yet? Well, the Phillies wanted to sign him in the offseason, but I don't know what the offer was. There was talk of an extension. But Kyle Schwarber obviously is the type of player that says, hey, I'll play out my contract and I'll bet on me. Guys that bet on me generally do pretty well with that bet. So Kyle Schwarber has lined himself up to get a pretty significant contract this offseason. Now, is it 4 years, 100? That seems light. Is it 3 years, 105? I think he's going to command more than 3 years. Is it 4 years, 150? Whatever it is, I know this. John Middleton and the Phillies don't allow players like Kyle Schwarber to leave. So once he hits free agency, it's out of our hands. It's out of the Phillies' hands because he's free to sign with whatever team he wants to. Any team can give a contract offer of whatever they want to. So, yeah, he could potentially sign with the Yankees or the Mets or Team A or Team B or Team C or Team D. But I know this. Kyle Schwarber likes playing here. He likes this team. He likes this organization. He likes this clubhouse. And the Phillies ownership, management, John Middleton, the ownership group, they don't allow players like Kyle Schwarber to leave. When they're right now in the window of opportunity is open to win a World Series, where Bryce Harper and Trey Turner are on these big contracts for long term, you can't let Kyle Schwarber leave. Dave Dombrowski knows this. John Middleton knows this. If the price gets too high to what they're comfortable with paying, I think they sign him anyway. I mean, Jesus H. They just gave Aaron Nola a long-term contract for a lot of money. They're going to allow Kyle Schwarber to leave? Kyle Schwarber's not going anywhere. So keep up the hashtag pay the man, whatever it is. Say it after every home run if you want to. I can't, for the life of me, imagine a Phillies team without Kyle Schwarber. That's what you need to do. When you look at a free agent leaving, regardless of what sport it is. Let's look at the Eagles, for example. Could I envision a 2025 team this upcoming year without Josh Sweat on it? Of course. Without Milt Williams on it? Yeah. Without Zach Baun? No. Not after he played last year. The importance and the positional importance to what Vic Fangio wants to do on that defense. No, I couldn't imagine the Eagles team this year without Zach Baun on it, right? Same thing with the Phillies. Could I envision Kyle Schwarber not on the Phillies? The answer is no. And neither can John Middleton, neither can Dave Dombrowski. If the Phillies sucked and everything was blowing up in their face, okay, then you might trade him at the trade deadline. You're not there. The Phillies are rolling, brother. They're looking good right now. And Kyle Schwarber is tied for Major League in home runs. I know he's a DH. That takes away some of his value, I suppose. But when you throw an offensive player in left field because that's the easiest place for him to play, or you put him at first base because he's tall, like you're not put him out there because he's a good defensive player. You put him out there because that's the easiest place to put him. Right? Kyle Schwarber can barely play left field. I don't care. Kyle Schwarber's not going anywhere, and his offensive production, it's the best on the team. He's been the best player on the team. Bryce Harper had the MVP type season. Kyle Schwarber, over the course of his contract, has been the best player on this team. And guess what? You can put him in the cleanup hole now. He's your cleanup hitter. Remember, he could only hit as a leadoff hitter? And I thought it was kind of strange, but yeah, he can only leadoff. He can only be productive like this as a leadoff hitter. No, not anymore. He's hitting cleanup, and he's raking. All right, so like Michael B says, age is a major factor. Now, you know, he's 32 years old. Age isn't a major factor. He's not getting a 10-year contract. And honestly, you give Trey Turner that long-term contract, you give Aaron Nola that long-term contract, what do you think they're going to look like in the last couple of years of that contract? Age isn't a factor. Does he look like he's regressing right now? This team is trying to win a World Series now, not later. The window's for the next 2 or 3 years. So Kyle Schwarber, for the next 2 or 3 years, will be a Philadelphia Philly, and he will be a well-paid Philadelphia Philly. This isn't a Juan Soto contract, ladies and gentlemen. He's not getting $400 million. We're talking about 4 years, 150, something like that. I don't know. People will argue with me and tell me, no, he'll take a hometown discount, $80 million. No, he's not. He may take a little bit less to stay. It's not going to be a hometown discount, everybody. and he's going to be a Philadelphia Philly. And you know what? If they don't end up winning a World Series, well, like, I don't know what to say. They're putting the best team they can put out there right now, and there's no way that Kyle Schwarber is not going to be a Philadelphia Philly. So let's leave that right there. All right, more on the Phillies coming up later on the show. This portion of the program brought to you by GLAT Hair Restoration, GLATHairMM.com. You can also text or call them, text them, 610-980-4000, 610-980-4000. Slide in my DMs if you have any questions about GLAT Hair Restoration, but check them out, GLATHairMM.com. All right, a draft lottery tonight. Fingers and toes crossed that the 76ers are able to keep their draft pick. 64%. That's the Sixers' odds of the pick remaining in the top 6 selections. If it goes 7 or greater, they lose the pick to OKC. And I can tell you what the reaction will be tomorrow morning or later tonight at like 7:30 because the draft lottery is at 7 o'clock tonight. Doom and gloom. Even though 90% of the people, including me, don't know a lot about the players that will be picked outside the top 3. I don't know if the 6th pick, if the Sixers get the 6th overall pick, I don't know if he's going to be a major contributor or he's bust proof. But it's just the mentality of our season sucked. We were able to tank, and we put ourselves in a situation where we have a 64% chance of keeping our first round draft pick. So that's good. A quick story about a draft lottery. When I was working with Anthony at the Fanatic, I was working mornings with Anthony. Guess whatever Ben Simmons was 2016, I guess. Sixers draft lottery. We need that number 1 pick. So we enlisted a group of, I don't even know how many people we had come in the studio. We had somebody that was like not a priest, but someone involved in religion. They were praying during our show. We had rosary beads. We had like every box you could check to have Ben Simmons stay a 76er to get that number 1 draft pick. We had working for us that day. We actually had a camera crew in studio because Ben Simmons, you probably don't remember this, but Ben Simmons had a documentary crew that was following him around through his 1 season at LSU, into the draft lottery, into the draft or whatever else. So I wouldn't say I'm featured in the documentary, but I am in the documentary, the Ben Simmons documentary. Anthony and I are in the Ben Simmons documentary. I think you hear my voice more than you see me talking about Ben Simmons, how we need him to be a 76er. So if you're a religious person, I'm not, but if you're a religious person, maybe say an Our Father or a Hail Mary or something like that for the Sixers tonight to keep their top 6 pick. All right, 7 p.m. on ESPN. So you have Kevin Nagandi, a frequent contributor to the Anthony Gargano show. Oh, he'll be so happy if the Sixers get the first overall pick. Jay Billis, Bob Myers, and Shams will be there. 5th best odds of any team heading into the lottery. So they have a 10.5% chance of getting the first overall pick. 64% of keeping it. And really, like, the difference between being a top 3 and the Sixers. So the Jazz, the Wizards, and the Hornets all have a 14% chance of keeping their pick. The Pelicans have a 12% chance, and then the Sixers at 10.5. And then you go to the Nets at 6 at 9. Right? So it's really not that big of a difference. So I wouldn't be surprised, and I'm never surprised if a team goes up from 10 to 1, or if a team like the Sixers goes up. So like, there's no strategy. There's nothing else other than just to cross your fingers, hold your breath, and hope they keep that pick. Now, I did want to mention this because I see a lot of this when you talk about it. I hear a lot of it. Tyler had said it to me last week. It's like, oh, the draft lottery is rigged. Ha, 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 ha. And a lot of people say it sarcastically, but they also believe it, that they think the draft lottery is rigged, right? And it's fun to say, and you kind of laugh, huh? And I'm not telling you that has it been rigged at some point. I mean, I don't think so, but is it possible? Yeah, sure. But this whole process is audited by a friggin' accounting firm. It's one of the biggest accounting firms in the country. Ernst & Young is what it is. All the teams are involved in the process of when it's selected. So there's no monkey business. So, and the NBA. So if you're going to, with a straight face, tell me that the lottery is rigged, here's how you, as a professional sports organization or just a sport, the NBA, while maybe there's a decline in viewership or blah, 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 every year franchise values increase. Every year the league makes more money. Every year networks are lining up to have their broadcasts, right? That's just a fact. The one way you can totally F over your league is to have outcomes like games or a draft lottery become fixed. So Tim Donaghy, that kind of got swept under the rug as much as they could. Oh, yeah, like that was real. But that's not the league. So if players are fixing games, and you got to worry about that with gambling, referees, or if a league is fixing a draft lottery because they want to get a certain team, the number one overall pick, if that happened and they were discovered to do that, bye-bye NBA. Do you know the crippling effect that would have? So say it with fun. Say it if you're mad that the 76ers don't get the first overall pick, but realize that it's not the case. And like, from my standpoint, I'm a D-level local Philadelphia podcaster on a great network, PHLY. But like me coming out and saying, the draft lottery is rigged. Like, just, you got to be careful what you say. It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. All right, Bob Cooney's going to join us coming up in a little bit. We'll discuss all of this with him. If Bob's been to a draft lottery, it's in Chicago. Remember, it always used to be up in Sea Caucus. And you remember the one year that Pat Croce's there, 1996. They get the first overall pick, Allen Iverson, and I'll never get Pat. I can still see Pat's face when it's the number 2 pick comes out, and it's like, oh, Toronto is the number 2 pick, and the Sixers are getting Allen Iverson. Cooper flagged to the 76ers. As negative as I am on the team right now, and I'm negative, big time. They get the first overall pick. Things will be much brighter tomorrow morning at 8 a.m. on Philly with John Marks. And all across the Delaware Valley, all of a sudden, Sixers fans will be back. And as I see in my mentions, like, oh, you're not a real Sixer fan. Like, you know what I am? I'm a lifelong 76er fan that is exhausted by this organization, by this team, by Joel Embiid, by everything, all of the above. Give me my Scantron. I'm filling in D for all of the above. All right. What else did I have here? More just quickly on the Phillies right now. Chris Sanchez goes tonight. Cardinals are in town. Chris Sanchez, Aaron Nola had didn't have a good start. He hit his Aaron Nola, Joe Blanton start. And like, whatever. That's what Aaron Nola is. He had 2 really good starts the previous 2 outings. Every time, for the most part, that the Phillies play, you're going to feel good about your chances, even with Aaron Nola in there, because he keeps you in the game. Chris Sanchez, again, pitching at all-star level. So keep winning these series. You got the sweep against who did they get the sweep over? The last series that they played? Oh, down in Tampa. You got the sweep in Tampa. You took 3 in Cleveland. You've been winning series. Win the series, win the series, win the series. And this team's going to be winning a lot of games going forward. All right, we'll come back. Bob Cooney, he writes for PHLY about the Phillies. He's our Phillies reporter. He's a contributor to many shows on the program. Also a longtime 76er beat reporter for the Daily News. His thoughts on the 76ers and heading into the draft lottery. Bob Cooney is coming up right after this. Philly with John Marks. PHLY. Why? So Empire today. Here's why. All right, you got to check it out. You are not going to get better pricing. You're not going to get better selection. You're not going to get people that are flooring experts that bring the showroom right to your home. So check this out. I've owned a couple of investment properties. I have my condo that I sold a few years ago in Fairmount. I had another duplex that I had. And one of the first things that you look to do when you go in is you're like, all right, what do I need to do first? And in both of my investment properties, it was the flooring. I had bad carpeting, right? Like old carpeting. It's like, do I want to get carpet? You know what? The aesthetic look of hardwood floors or vinyl floors in one of my places is so good. I'm down here in my studios in my basement. I have vinyl down here. It's an amazing look. It feels like hardwood, right? Upstairs in my main living area, my first floor, I have really, really nice hardwood. And then I have carpet going upstairs into upstairs, right? Empire Today is your best bet for a new floor. So if you're going to want to go to one of those big box stores and be like, I'll try to save a little bit of money, which you're not going to do. I'm going to try to save a little bit of money. Let's go to this place. And then you're like looking at stuff and you like, well, who works in flooring? Where, like, okay, excuse me, can someone help me? Hey, Lou in plumbing, come on over. This person has a question. And they come over. They're like, oh, well, I'm not really that familiar with it. Empire Today, they bring the showroom to you. And here's why that's important. And I've had this happen as well. It's going to look different if you're at a showroom somewhere, and I've had this happen with furniture before, than being in your own home, in your own space. The color of your walls, your lighting, you're going to know what that floor looks like in your own home. That's the benefit of having Empire come to you. And they're giving precise measurements. All your questions are being answered. There's no surprises, and you're getting clear, upfront, and all-inclusive pricing. And you can schedule your installation as soon as the next day. How about that? So, and I got a deal for you. Free in-home estimate. Schedule one today. How about this? $350 off. Use code PHLY at empiretoday.com/PHLY. Full details. Restrictions do apply. Full details. $350 off. Don't miss it. empiretoday.com/PHLY. Why? Hoo-ah. All right, what do we got? We got Bet Parks. You kidding me? We have our Bet Parks parlay of the day coming up in the beginning of Block C, and we nailed it on Friday. We got off the schneid with a big Friday win. So listen, big series tonight. Chris Sanchez on the mound for our team. Pro golf, we had a local tournament this week. You could have been involved. We have really good pro hoop playoffs right now. I've been into it. Hockey playoffs. Watch and wager during the games. Live bet. All right. The Bet Parks online sportsbook and online casino app has you covered, whether your favorite team wins or not. There's always another way to win on the Bet Parks sportsbook and online casino app. The only app I ever would recommend and use. All right. So check it out. We're talking about sports, live betting. How about live dealer blackjack, roulette, craps, poker? Yeah, poker. Hot online slots, Walking Dead. I know Brenna can't get enough of Breaking Bad and Peaky Blinders. All of your favorite classic casino games from where you are. And how about this? New users get up to $1,000 casino bonus back if you're down in the first 24 hours. BetParks.com. Download the app right now. Enjoy all the action and excitement from the casino at your fingertips. You must be 21 and in PA, New Jersey, Maryland, or Michigan for Bet Parks. You love to play. You play to win. You bet. Bet Parks gambling problem. Call 1-800-GAMBLER. Hooah! Bob Cooney joins us coming up here in one moment as the Phils and the Cardinals have a series starting tonight down at Citizens Bank Park. Let me say this about Bryson Stott, who, big fan, down year last year. He is right where he needs to be. He's right where he needs to be. He should be the leadoff hitter. No Trey Turner. Stop trying to put Trey Turner in there. Stotty, with his speed, he worked a walk last night, which was, when you look at the box score, you'll be like, oh, well, he had a hit, he had a run scored, he had a walk. Well, here's what he did. He walked to lead off the inning. He stole second base, tweaked his back a little bit on it. And then Bryce Harper hit a rocket. Trey Turner strikes out. So you're like, damn it, Turner. That was an opportunity to move him over. And then Bryce Harper hits a rocket, but it's the other way, and it's just short of the warning track. And then Schwarber comes up and he hits a home run. But Stott, like, since they put him in the leadoff spot, he's looked really, really good. He's comfortable up there. And I just think he gives you more value in the lineup, putting him up top, than trying to plug Trey Turner in because you feel like Trey Turner should be the guy. As our Phillies reporter and writer, all the above for PHLY, Phillies, Bob Cooney joins us right now on this beautiful NBA lottery Monday morning. What's up there, Cooney?
How are you, John? What's going on?
Look like a golfer, man. Were you into the Truist championships this weekend?
I did make it over on Saturday. I went over with our very own Jamie Lynch. So yeah, we out there, had a good time. Pretty cool. I was really happy. I covered Marion when the U.S. Open was there in 2013, John. So I was there from Tuesday to Sunday with a bunch of guys from the Daily News. And it was great how the course held up, and winning score was, only 1 under. And everybody thought they were going to kill Marion. Well, I thought yesterday that the cricket club held itself well also. You saw guys fading at the end. And that, to me, that's a sign. All right, the course beat them up a little bit. So very happy with what happened this weekend.
Yeah, I mean, it just proves the city can handle major golf tournaments. I saw a couple of players afterwards were talking about like the environment, the atmosphere. You can tell like Philly is a good golf town. We just don't get that many opportunities. And by the way, I have no interest in golf, so I wasn't really watching any of it. But yeah, like it's great for the area, man. Let's go. Let's get some more golf tournaments here.
It was cool. I mean, you're walking around. I saw one guy in a Vince Papale jersey. The players were all weekend, John. Like, yeah, Philly probably isn't known as one of the stops on the tour, but we love how great of a sports city it is. And so I think the players really took it in that the fans are who they are, that we are what we are. I heard one player saying that he listens to like he loves coming into cities and listening to what the local media
Sports radio
have to say about it. So I thought Philly really showed itself well, in the cricket club in particular this weekend.
Another opportunity for Eagles fans to do chants at a non-Eagles game as well, which is always always makes for interesting theater when they're doing it at a golf tournament. All right, so listen, Bob, Phillies are rolling right now. I think, like, and this is for me personally, I think a lot of fans, when they lose series and when the offense is hot and cold like it can be, they can be frustrating to watch. But with this starting rotation, and it was on display this weekend, they're going to win 90 games just with their rotation and the lineup that they have. Ranger Suarez, Zach Wheeler, they almost had identical lines, 7 innings, 3 hits, no runs. Bullpen finished it off. Like a really, really quality weekend in Cleveland against a good team. And like, this is the time. I was talking to somebody this actually yesterday, and it was like, you know what? I'm okay if the Phillies win 89 or 90 games and come in as a wild card. The hell with that winning 97 games and worried about the division. That hasn't mattered in baseball. It just hasn't. So I like where the Phillies are right now. They're a couple games behind the Mets. They're playing really good baseball. Like, all right, let's go. But very impressed with how the Phillies are playing right now.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. I wrote something last week going into this road trip about what's the offensive identity of this team, because I was really struggling with it at the time. We look at it and not a lot's changed. Look, they brought back the same team for pretty much the last 2-3 years, right? But when you looked at it, John, going into this series, I said, well, you don't have any really boppers besides Kyle Schwarber, right? Right now, will Harper get his 30 home runs? Maybe. Could it be a case that he's 32 years old, the bat's slowing down a little bit, they're not pitching to him, different things like that. So I questioned, well, if they're considering themselves a bopper team, they really don't have it besides Schwarber. So do you go in a different direction? Is it a small ball team? Is it a fast team? What was really impressive after I wrote that this week was they showed a little bit of everything. They had games where they hit 3 home runs, 3-run homers, and Schwarber doing what he did. They had games like, where they had to win a little bit of small ball. You mentioned Bryson Stott doing what he did. He's been terrific at the leadoff spot, seeing pitches, getting on base. And I just have this confidence about me now, and maybe a lot of listeners do, that they're dangerous right now, that the confidence level is through the roof, that if Stott leads off an inning and gets on, or Rojas gets on base, or, when Schwarber comes up, he's going to hit one. The little thing is that Harper's not breaking out of it right yet, but I think he will. And I think Scott Lauber wrote a great story this week talking about how he's just not seeing any pitches. Everything is a ball that they're throwing to Bryce Harper right now.
Yeah, I heard him say last night on the broadcast he sees less strikes than anybody, and it's because teams have to think he's going to be willing to chase that because he's getting impatient. He's hitting the ball hard, but I had said what you said earlier I agree with. Harper's probably like a he's going to top out in the 30s as far as home runs. And Schwarber is your big bopper, but they're going to have to be more reliant on station to station. getting doubles, getting triples. Castellanos is probably good for 20 home runs or like teens, like high teens home runs.
Yeah.
I mean, this isn't a team that's going to win. This isn't a team that can win with home runs like they did a couple years ago. And maybe that's a good thing, man. Maybe
Yeah.
it's a better thing to have that. But it would be nice to have a bigger, not one more big bat in the lineup.
Oh, it would be. It'd be great. You know, you have a third baseman that has one home run. I mean, you have corner outfielders that, like you said, Kepler's been fine, but is he a 25, 30 home run guy? I don't think so. Maybe he could be. And that's what I wrote also. Like, maybe this could happen. Maybe they will find their bats. And maybe from here on out, getting to those numbers, where Castellanos getting to maybe 20 and Harper getting to 30. Well, you're talking about they're going to have to hit a lot of home runs from here on out in order to get the numbers on the back of the card. So maybe they will become kind of a bopping team. But you were talking earlier about the Schwarber contract. I mean,
yes.
What are your most consistent things offensively right now? Well, it's Bryson Stott at the head of the lineup. Schwarber is absolutely a 4-hole hitter. And, you know, you can't overlook what Trey Turner's done at the 2-hole over the last, month. He's been phenomenal. And so that's great. You need more consistency probably from Harper, which I think will come. Castellanos, Real Muto, and Bohm. It's kind of the same stuff that we've talked about before. You just hope it all happens at the right time at the end of the season.
I'm having a tough time putting my finger on what Kyle Schwarber is worth, right? Like, I feel like a lot of people talk about, like, he's 37 years old. He's 32, right? So it's like the age, he's still, all right, maybe he's entering the end of his prime. But when you look at what Kyle Schwarber is and what he does, right? Like, he's a power hitter and he's going to see a lot of pitches. He's going to be a high on base percentage guy. But I don't know, is it 4 years, 100 million seems too light to me for the power numbers he puts up. And it's good. Now at this point, it's all going to be, what is the market dictating? How many years and how many dollars? Because they didn't agree to an extension unless they do it in season. Like, what's his value? Is it 3 for 105? Is it 4 for 120? Is it 4 for 1? Like, what is his, Bob? What is your best guess right now? What his value is if he hits free agency?
Yeah, I mean, the Phillies are going to have to do the business aspect of it, right? 32. Do we want to give you 4 years? How about 3 and we'll give you a lot of money? And he's going to come back and say, "No, I'd probably like to finish my career here, so give me 5," or something like that. Something great. But the great thing is, John, he's not a guy that's running the bases. He's not a guy that's running around in the outfield. He swings 4 times a game. So, you could probably play off of that for another 4 or 5 years. Ideally for a fan, probably looking at it 4 years, 125 something, around that area. Look, he might be the best cleanup hitter in all of baseball right now. For a lineup that you've had trouble finding consistency over the last 3 years, specifically at the end of the season, when you're trying to catch that World Series, holding on to something that is a given at a certain spot in the offensive lineup, I think is something that's paramount on their list. So to me, Kyle Schwarber isn't going anywhere, and it doesn't hurt that he's one of the most liked people, not only in this organization, as you heard on the national broadcast last night, in all of baseball. Just the guy is revered. So I don't think he's going anywhere. Do you overspend on him a little bit? It's not my money. Sure, go ahead.
Well, but like the funny thing is, like, people are like, "Oh, well, he's going to be too old." What do you think this team's going to look like when all these guys get old at once? Then they're going to be selling everything off. It's going to get, at some point, it's going to get ugly. We're not there yet. They're committed to try to win right now. Their whole plan is to win in the next 3 years. So you're going to let Kyle Schwarber leave? Bob, I think there's I'm not going to say 0% chance because that's crazy, but there's a very small chance that Kyle Schwarber leaves, in my opinion. But I also see I'll see a lot of people, and these are mostly fans on social media, so take it for what it's worth, but that don't think he has a true value because he's a DH. You don't think that there's teams that'll line up for a guy that can hit 35, 40, 45 home runs and be your 4-hole hitter? I mean, look around baseball. And a guy, and like you had said it, the thing that tips the scales with him maybe is the fact that he is such a great leader, that he is such a, like everybody speaks so highly of him as the type of guy that he is. So that right now you're bringing in your clubhouse leader, in addition to a guy that's going to hit 40 to 45 home runs every year. I can't envision a Phillies team going forward without Kyle Schwarber on it. I just can't.
No, me neither. And here's another thing, John. How much better of a hitter has he become? I mean, we looked at it before. Think back 3-4 years ago where it was like, oh, it's home run or strikeout, striking out 200 times a year, swinging at stuff, trying to get those. He's become more disciplined. He goes to the opposite field better than he used to. He will see pitches. He's become great at walking. I mean, we're talking about a 46-game streak of getting on base from a home run hitter. That's crazy, but it goes to show how much better he's gotten at 31, 32 years old. So therefore, with that, with the fact that he's not running bases, playing the outfield all that much, I'm fine bringing him back. And I like I said, I think you have to. Plus, you have Aiden Miller, you have Crawford, you have guys in the minors and some pitching. What you talked about, how good it is, and look at the young ones they have in Luzardo and Suarez and Sanchez. So they're kind of in a really good spot. Yeah, they were talking last night about the window. Is it half open, half closed? I think the window's just fine, being of what you have now and what is there to follow when, as you said, this group gets a lot older.
The reverse splits on Schwarber are unbelievable. That's a tough lefty that hides the ball well. It's the damnedest thing. Normally, left on left, up a home run hitting left-handed hitter. Oh man, like the lefty comes in and that's how you stop him. No. He's amazing.
Run, and they broke it down that you don't want to throw him heat. He'll hit anything that's heat. He's going to hit it a mile. So they broke it down. They show, okay, they got him on off-speed stuff a little bit. Then they throw an off-speed and left it over the plate. And what does he do? He hits it 400 feet and another home run. And he has just turned into. And I think it's one of the bigger stories, maybe the biggest over the last couple of years with the Phillies, is that how good of a hitter he's become. It's not just home runs. I mean, he's really, really comfortable up at the plate right now. And it's great to see how much better he's gotten.
Yeah, and he went, it was change up on that first home run, and he's able to stay back, and you figure he's looking for it. He's become a really smart hitter. All right, let's transition here. Bob, you covered the 76ers for a long time as a newspaper reporter. How many draft lotteries? Did you always go to the draft lottery as a reporter?
Oh, sure. Yeah.
What's that like? It used to be in Sea Caucus. Now they move it around. It's in Chicago. What's that like? What's the whole process like?
Well, my best memory of it was 1 year. So they get like 5 national media, 5 people in the media throughout the country, and they sequester them about an hour before the actual draft lottery that's on TV. I was picked 1 year to be one of those members. So I was sequestered in a room like an hour and a half before the draft lottery came on TV, and they actually did it there. And we were witnesses. They took our phones, they took our computers. I think they took our shoes, our pants, whatever. We were all locked in the room. And there was, like I said, only about 5 media members, security, and they did it there. And that was the year that they got the number 1 pick, in which they were going to get Ben Simmons. So yeah, like an hour and a half before the Philadelphia area knew if the Sixers were going to get that number 1 pick and get Ben Simmons, I was sequestered in a room and knew but couldn't tell anybody.
What do they do? Do you see the whole process? Because I talked about this earlier, but it's the fun thing to say that the NBA rigs the draft lottery, which is insane to think that that's something that they would actually do. But what do you see? What is the process?
Yeah, I'm a sucker. I have trust in humanity. I've talked to a lot of referees about the Tim Donaghy stuff. I think he was totally wrong. Was there other people involved? I believe all the stories that, most of the stories that I've been told about, referees were shocked with him. But the way it goes is, they'll show us everything. The 5 that were secluded in there, here are the names going into the envelope, and they put the envelope, or the teams, and here are the ping pong balls, and they show all that, and they give us all the probabilities and everything. And there's nothing to be skewed. There just isn't. It's right there in front of you. Everything happens right there. There's security people hanging over the bins where the balls are. So, yeah, it was hard for me in the years that I covered it, specifically being behind the scenes 1 year, to say that there was any rigging going on. If you want to go back to Patrick Ewing in New York, all right, we could talk about that some other time. Right. But, I don't think there is anymore.
Right, that's what I said. Like, I'm not going to tell you in 1985 there wasn't some monkey business going on. I have no idea. But, like, at present day, I find it hard to believe that an accounting firm, security, media members, they do all that for a reason, to make sure that stuff can't happen. This isn't, you don't have a deal, you don't have somebody bottom dealing out of a deck and being like, oh, look at that.
I mean,
mixed in it.
About the NBA. It's not like we're talking about mine and yours fantasy football draft. You know, this is the NBA. If Adam Silver, or gets caught, or anybody in the NBA, and trust me, I've been behind the scenes a lot in the NBA. I've been in their offices up in New York and done many stories and gotten to know how things work up there. You could not imagine the seriousness, John, the way they go through things. And look, I hear the complaints about the referees and I see bad calls, as we all do, and I don't like the way the players act, and I wish, but they break down film. I mean, you're talking about a referee having a game. People might think, oh, they go out for beers and then they just go for their next game. No, they are made to, like an hour after the game, sit down on a computer, go back over the game, take notes, the next morning talk to a supervisor about the game, and go over it and over it. And when I went up, they showed me film of, I picked 10 NBA referees, and they showed me film and they broke it down of what this, that. It's amazing what goes into all of what an NBA game and season is behind the scenes. So yeah, that kind of stuff, John, I gotta say, I don't think they'd risk it all for let's get Patrick Ewing to New York.
Whenever you're on, Bob, like you've been on here 15 minutes, like it feels like it's been 5 minutes, where it's such a good conversation. I got to ask you about the Sixers before we go. Daryl Morey, in his media tour that he took, was it Friday or Thursday last week?
Yeah.
I'll give you one quote. He says, first losing season I've ever had. More deep playoff runs than pretty much any executive. I have never been in the lottery. I'm pretty good at the winning thing. Your thoughts on that? Like that, by the way, like that's like the facts of that are true. Is there any 76er fan that wants to hear Daryl Morey say that after that season?
No, and there's probably not a coach, an assistant coach, and players, and a lot of other people in an organization that really want to hear that also. You've been around a while, John, as have I. When it gets to that point of a coach having to explain his resume, as a GM, as an owner, starting to explain their resume, we all know what your resume is. Like, I'd much rather hear, yeah, I got to do a better job. Hopefully we get a top 4 pick, and this is what we're thinking. And, but the Sixers have kind of never been like that since this whole thing started. And it just gets to be, are you realizing where this organization has been, where this fan base has, what they've had to put up with? When somebody like a Daryl Morey comes out and says stuff like that and starts telling us about his resume, it really makes me think, wow, do you know what this organization, and I'm not saying he doesn't, but how keen are you to what this fan base has gone through and what they're looking for from your organization?
Yeah, Doc Rivers, he would say, well, I wasn't here for all that. But when you become the coach and you become the GM and you become the owner, that now you take that, right? Like, we went through the process. The Sixers have been the one conference championship, or one Eastern Conference championship since 1984, right?
Yeah.
They win in 83. They go to the finals in 2001. They haven't been back to an Eastern Conference championship. And that's 1 in 40 some years. So yeah, Daryl, you weren't here for all that stuff, but now you were the one that was brought in to get them over the hump of not being able to get out of the second round. And whether or not it's your fault doesn't matter. Bob, it's the easiest thing, and it's something that Howie Roseman has mastered. Now he's winning Super Bowls. It's a little bit different. But sometimes you just got to grovel for the fans. And you got to say what's the easiest thing to say is that the only thing that we care about as the 76ers organization is winning a championship for our fans. Our fans love our team, and we want to bring them a championship so bad. And we had some injuries last year, and I made some mistakes. And everything I'm going to do, everything that I can do is to put the 76ers in a position to win a championship. That's it.
Yeah.
Not, oh, I'm pretty good at this winning thing. No, you're not. You've never been to a final. You've never been to an NBA final, Daryl. Right?
Yeah.
Like, it drives me nuts.
What I struggle with the organization, since I've been covering and all, is just the truthfulness. Like, if you tell the truth and things are going bad, I'm okay with it. I mean, hey, Joel Embiid, yeah, his knee is really bad. He hurt it on that's not your fault. We drafted such and such thinking he was going to be this, but he wasn't. He was that. And yeah, the guy taking number 3 turns out to be one of the best players in the league. Not the way we saw it, not the way a lot of people saw it, but truthfulness, especially when it comes to injury, to me is a no-brainer when it comes to sports, because as I've said to you before, John, and on other places, that injury is a part of sport as much as winning and losing, and to try to deny it or hide it or anything like that, there's no reason for it. It happens, you fix it, you move forward, and you hope for the best results. And they just haven't been able to grasp that as an organization since I've been around them.
AllPHLY.com. That's how you find Bob. You find him right here, but you can read. What do you got going on this week? A lot of Philly stuff going on, Bob?
Yeah, write a recap of what the road trip just was. We'll have that posted today. I might write a little something about the truest PGA championship, just to give people a feel of what I felt while I was out there on Sunday. And then, yeah, I'll be out Phillies games this week, and we'll have some updates on you and all that. Also, I think this afternoon I'm jumping on with Jamie and Rich Hoffman are filling in for Tyler. So this afternoon at 1:30, I'm going to jump on with those guys.
All right. Very good. Bob, you're the best, man. Appreciate it.
Be good, buddy.
All right, there he is, Bob Cooney. We do this every time he's on. We just talk. And it's like, oh, man, he's been on for 25 minutes. We should have hosted a show on radio together. That might have worked. Bob Cooney and I. All right, coming back, our Bet Parks parlay of the day. And we're on fire, 1 in a row. That's a streak. Is it? No, 2 in a row would be a streak. That's coming up. A couple of firings across Major League Baseball, and a pitcher got taken out 1 out shy of a perfect game. We'll try to get to all of that coming up right after this. Philly with John Marks back at 2 at 2. Don't go anywhere. All right, check it out. Ashley not Ashley. Ashley Furniture. That's right. Spring in the savings. That's what we do this time of year, because the low prices are blooming at Ashley. Save up to 50% off living rooms, bedrooms, and dining rooms, and you have it all delivered for FREE, free. Long-term, no interest financing. That's what I get. Save on top mattress brands and get free delivery, setup, and removal. But don't wait. Spring into savings now at Ashley, South Jersey, and Philadelphia. Financing with approved credit. Minimum purchase required. Some exclusions may apply. See store for complete details. Hurry to Ashley. Visit ashleyfurniture.com for more information. And how about this? PHLY is partnering with Ashley to host the Ashley Fan Cave Sweepstakes. One lucky participant will get a chance to win a brand new Mod Max modular sectional. Say that 4 times fast. To watch the next big game, plus an additional $1,000 Visa gift card to bring your dream fan cave to life. So that is allphly.com/Ashley. Check it out. Ashley Furniture. Hooah. All right. GLAT HAIR Restoration. Said this a little bit earlier in the show, and it's something I always put out there to all of our listeners or viewers or what have you. But you hear me talk about GLAT HAIR Restoration, and I had a hair restoration procedure. But if you had any questions, or you want to see some pictures of the before, the after, the during it. So I actually, knowing that, I'm like, you know what? I'm going to take pictures day before, day of, day after, week after, 2 weeks after, videos of it. So I have now, this is exactly what the process is like. You can get that on my Instagram at John, Jon Marks, Marks Media, at John Marks Media, or you can slide into my DMs. All right. Responsibly slide into my DMs with any questions that you have regarding it. My email is johnmarksmedia@gmail.com. I can even hand you off to my friends over at GLAT HAIR Restoration, the hair team that I've known for many, many years, and they've been in business, or they have experience of over 30 plus years in hair restoration. And it's not just about the restoration, it's about innovation, right? So there's more options in 2025. If you're starting to lose your hair and you're not happy with where the hairline's going, you can stop it in its tracks. Vitamin supplementation, PRP, stem cell. There's so many different options out there right now where you can stop the hair loss. And these are real options. These aren't social media commercials where you're like, hey, look at that guy's hair. Where's the before picture? There's not a before picture for good reason. GLATHairMM.com is their website, or text or call them 610-980-4000, 610-980-4000, or GLATHairMM.com. Hooah! All right, we're back. Philly. All right, let's get to it. And Brent is with us this morning. She's doing an excellent job. Tyler will return on Friday, but with a streak of one in a row, let's get to our Bet Parks parlay of the day. All right, here's what we got going on, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. A couple of game fours tonight in the NBA playoffs, and I've been hit or miss with these games. All right, so I'm staying away from the actual game. Knicks and Celtics at Madison Square Garden. Celtics won game 3, and they're looking to even up the series tonight. Boston's a 6.5-point road favorite. I'm staying away, but I'm going over on Jalen Brunson and points. He is their high volume guy, which means he's going to score whether or not he's shooting the ball well or not. If it takes him 33 shots, he's going to get close to 30 points. So I'll take Jalen Brunson over 26.5 points. That's minus 143. So if you're betting 143 to win 100, that's the odds. All right, so Jalen Brunson over 26.5. Now, the Warriors are down 2 games to 1 as well. They're at home. They're without Steph Curry. They're hoping to get Steph back by game 6, but they need to win a game or 2 to get to that point. T-Wolves are favored by 5.5 on the road. Again, I'm staying away from the game, but here's how the Warriors stay in this game or win this game. Playoff Jimmy Butler. He needs to score to keep him in it. I'm going to take Jimmy Butler over 24.5. That's minus 159. So we're laying 100 to win 177. So over Jimmy Butler, 24.5. Over Brunson, 26.5. You can do that and get that right now on the Bet Parks app. So get on over there and many, many, many more. I was looking at a lot of different props for tonight. Many, many more. All right, there you go. That's our Bet Parks parlay of the day. All right, so how about this? We've seen this countless times in baseball where a player comes out, has a no-hitter, comes out after 8 innings, is 8 1/3, has no hits, but has thrown 125 pitches. They come out of the game, and then that's the one time they'll talk about this on Get Up, or they'll talk about baseball on Get Up or on First Take or one of the debate shows, is when there's something like that to talk about. That's what it seems like, at least. It's like, no, you got to leave him in. The no-hitter means more than taking the player out. The hell with his health, right? It's a tricky situation because it's shown that after a pitcher goes over 120 pitches, say he goes 130, 140 pitches to get a no-hitter or go for a no-hitter, that next start, he's poor, or there can even be injury things that happen down the line. It's a tough position to put the manager in because he wants the player to throw the no-hitter. The team wants the player to throw a no-hitter, but do you really keep him in? And you're risking the player. And no player wants to come out that's going for a no-hitter or a perfect game in this case. So let's send it to Double-A. This is the Mets team. I think it's in Binghamton. Their Double-A team. So their pitcher, he's 1 out shy of a perfect game. Now, keep this in mind. It's a doubleheader, so it's not a 9-inning perfect game. It's a 7-inning perfect game, which makes it a fugazi perfect game. All right? But anyway, he's at 99 pitches. 100 pitches is his limit. Younger pitcher. You don't want to go crazy, but he needs 1 out. All right. So do you keep him out there for another batter? Then he's up to 110 pitches, maybe. Maybe he throws 2 pitches and he gets the perfect game. Maybe he's up to 110 pitches, and maybe it's a walk. So now it's a no-hitter. Do you take him out then after 110 pitches? This is how it looked. This is the video because, and I don't have his name. I didn't write it down. It says it here in the video. The Mets pitcher's obviously disappointed, but here's how it looked. Go ahead, Brittany. You can put it up there if you have it. So the manager.
Tong is at 99 pitches, and they're going to make the call to the bullpen. Tong will depart, much to the dismay of this crowd, hoping to witness a perfect game thrown exclusively by him, but an ovation, a big one, as he comes towards the dugout.
The Reading Phillies, and it's a 7-inning perfect game. It honestly shouldn't count. And when Major League Baseball had those 7-inning doubleheaders, and thank God they got rid of them quick. I know that was COVID era. There should never be a no-hitter that's 7 innings. That's ridiculous. So, yeah, you're disappointed for the kid and blah, 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 blah. So what? 7-inning perfect game, my butt. So whatever. You get him out of the game. Sorry. If you're a person that's at the stadium, sure, you boo. That's fine. Whatever. You want to see a perfect game, even though it's a Fugazi perfect game. All right, let's send it to Paul Skenes, the star right-handed starting pitcher for the Pirates. They fired their manager, Derek Shelton, after it's one of the worst teams in baseball. His record over the course, I think it's 6 seasons. The Pirates are a horrendous, horrible organization. They don't spend money. They could spend money. They pocket revenue sharing, all that jazz. And they're year in and year out one of the worst teams in baseball for decades. This isn't even for a decade. This is for decades. So, is it Derek Shelton's fault that the Pirates stink? No, of course it's not. Is it Derek Shelton's fault that they're as bad as they are? Yeah, maybe. It doesn't really matter. If you're one of the worst teams in baseball and you watch the team and you're like, yeah, guys are just going through the motions or they're sloppy or whatever, sometimes you just got to make a move, right? The Rockies fired their manager. They were at 7 wins. They lost 21-0. And Bud Black got fired after the next game. But here's Paul Skenes. Normally players will say something like, oh, well, it wasn't his fault. The players played the game, blah, blah, blah. Here's Paul Skenes after Shelton was fired over the weekend.
Yeah, unfortunately, I wasn't shocked. At the end of the day, we're 12 and, 27, 26, whatever it is. So, someone's got to be held accountable. Unfortunately, right now it's him. It's just kind of how it goes. But I don't know that it fixes the root of the issue, which is that we need to play better. So that's been the messaging today. It's been the messaging for a little bit now, and we still got to do that.
Very mature young man. He's absolutely right. I don't mind him saying that at the beginning. He's right. You're the manager. Whether or not it's your fault doesn't matter, right? You've been there for 6 years. This isn't year 1 and you fire them. No, the Pirates. Everybody knew the Pirates weren't going to be very good. Are they underachieving? I don't know. I don't pay much attention to the Pirates, but if you have that kind of a record, you're going to get whacked. They better. Paul Skenes is a generational pitcher, so you better figure it out. You better figure it out because he's going to be the next one gone, just like every other good player that's been in that organization for the most part. He's going to want out. They're going to end up trading him for pennies on the dollar. I have a lot of friends that are from the Pittsburgh area that are Pirates fans, and Jesus, man, what a bad organization. All right, we have time for this. No, we don't. So Rockies 7-33 on the season. I mentioned this before. They fired their manager. I didn't realize Bud Black was there for as long as he was. They're on pace to have the worst run differential by 200 runs. It's unbelievable. Right now they're on pace that, it'd be 60 years to have that run difference. But they're so bad. They're 7-33. That's tough. Tough to be that bad, man. To be mired in and they made the playoffs a couple years at the beginning of Bud Black's career, but kind of year after year, if you're a Major League Baseball fan and your team stinks, the only reason to go down to see a baseball game is to go down and see a baseball game because you love baseball or you want to take your kids down or you just enjoying going to a game. That is not what we are here in Philadelphia. The Phillies, while they haven't won a World Series since 2008, right now we're in a pretty good window of having a very entertaining baseball and a very good team or a pretty good team. So, all right. If you're watching on TV, why don't you slide on over to allphly.com. You got that because I forgot to give you a heads up that that's what we do, but you already knew that. So that's why you're amazing. And thank you for the program today. Switch on over to Anthony. He is live. You heard today the Philly show will be Rich Hoffman and Jamie Lynch, and Bob Cooney will join them to talk a little bit of Phillies. But we'll be back tomorrow live at 8 a.m. We appreciate you. Remember, if you're watching this live on YouTube, thank you. But you can always watch. If you miss a day, you can watch it whenever. Don't miss a day. You can watch it at your convenience on our YouTube. Just make sure you're liking, subscribing, comment. If you can't get involved live on the show, comment, leave your comments. We appreciate that. Also, like, you want to listen to the audio only podcast? I'm an audio guy. Just wherever you get your podcast, search Philly with John Marks. Driving to work, coming home from work, at your desk. You don't want people to, like, you can't have the video up. Just get the podcast, download the podcast, Philly with John Marks. Just search it wherever you find your podcast. Anthony's coming up next. Right now, go over live. Brenda, thank you. We're back tomorrow live at 8 a.m. See ya.
We all silly like the mayor.